Hi, everyone. I did not know that I was so brave to be in this position before we break for networking, and I'm looking forward to meeting each of you. As John said, my name is Amanda Azadian, and I'm the product manager of the digital health strategy team at the AMA. These ideas are my own, and while I will speak about a platform and program that I built at the AMA, this presentation is holistic, and it's to my story as a patient, an advocate, an innovator, and question asker. And first, I just really want to thank the HitLab team for inviting me here. It's an honor. In following the theme of the HitLab Innovators Summit this year, I'll focus on the framework of ideation and creation, evaluation leading us to innovation, and ending by sharing some AMA resources. To ideate well, we need broader perspectives. We need patient voices. No other individual or group of people are more invested in those outcomes. Many patients step away from their lives to heal, resulting in an incredible amount of time thinking and daydreaming about a cure or a societal system that would contribute supportively to their healing. Groups like Savvy Cooperative help us with some of this in our corporate day-to-day world at scale. But I'm here today to share a bit about the story that I experienced in hopes that it invites us into a narrative of medicine that remembers the body as an intricately beautiful healing machine, which sometimes responds best to the simplest solution. In 2010, I was hit in the temple with a lacrosse ball. We're on the East Coast. Many of us are familiar with this sport. And months of rehabilitation resulted in persistent post-concussive symptoms, which my renowned pediatricians treated with stimulants and sleeping pills. That's all we had. Trusting that I was fine because the MRI results were clear, I just kept pushing through daily migraines and uncharacteristic anxiety and neck pain for about 3 years because I was pursuing a dream in athletics to become an orthopedic surgeon and help others like me. As a student athletic trainer, though, I administered impact tests and taught weekly yoga classes and adhered to my medication plan unless I had a big test in anatomy the next day, in which case I would need another Adderall to stay up late and continue working and pushing my brain. My symptoms of pain and exhaustion became quite an arms race until one day the mask of medicines cracked and I collapsed at my summer internship, bounced back to Children's Hospital Boston as a now 20-year-old college kid, and landed in a rheumatologist's office that smelled more like mothballs. Where I was promptly diagnosed with a disease named for its collection of symptoms, fibromyalgia. The best creations, I believe, are born out of necessity. And with that diagnosis of pain, without having a clear etiology, he offered more intensive medications, as well as something to help with the frustration. So I went back to my basic research methods training and typed full healing, capital A-N-D, post-concussive syndrome, into PubMed. And I said a prayer. And I learned the word psychosomatic and felt the mix of acceptance and dismissal in the various ways that that term is used with different groups of practitioners. My rheumatologist had sheepishly suggested acupuncture. We were skeptical because he had lowered his voice when he made the suggestion, but I was willing to try anything. 5 hair-thin needles went into each one of my ears. In 2 consecutive treatments, I could finally drive on my own to my own appointments, which was quite a breakthrough. We began new rhythms out of necessity, my family and I, ancient modalities that were hard to find and required my parents' FSA account to be spent on their child's return to the nest. It took about 4 months to restore my physical, mental, and social health. The side effects of this process were different. They were also life-changing, yet it developed into a new vision for my own health and my health-focused career. Through managed care at a FQHC in Southside Chicago, my first job out of school, then bouncing to programs at a healthcare accelerator, the optimism of creating a neighborhood health destination at Walgreens, I learned more about this innovation and creation and evaluation process that HitLab is discussing here. I continued to self-treat and heal and share my own symptoms alongside my day job, by taking a month off for 200-hour training in Ayurvedic medicine, and during our global shutdown in 2020, I spent nights and weekends logging into the didactic and clinical counseling courses of the first year of acupuncture school. I'm still pursuing that on the side while working full-time, so I don't quite have that doctorate yet. I'm still looking for the best solutions, and it takes time to do so from those two disparate worlds. And not just for my own situation, but out of necessity for many others that I've seen have the capability to heal. So who do we trust with evaluating solutions? Getting into the evaluation side of things, it's still not a hat that we wear really intensely at the AMA because we're not the evaluating body. But my story as a 20-year-old patient, I learned to trust myself with my own healthcare choices. Sometimes that went against what my grandfather, who was a surgeon at the BMC, would have expected, but they were actually more in tune with his Armenian roots than we thought, which were deeply influenced by the exchange of ideas and cultures and healing practices that took place in that geographical Silk Road that my ancestors are from, long before conventional, acute, and life-saving technology that we benefit from today. Each patient must evaluate the care they will receive. But as the designers of the system that provides the physicians with the choices that they then present to patients, I do believe that the responsibility lies on us to be open-minded to ideas that may not fit our quarterly metrics and to evaluate solutions as if we were the patients ourselves. So when we put this all together, we need every stakeholder at the table to innovate. This time last year, I tasked myself with a new goal of finally writing out my patient journey and self-publishing it. 9 years in this industry, talking about patient journeys and healthcare, I had kept most of it to myself, as much as possible. Fear of vulnerability and thinking differently are powerful stuff, right? But it was a Brooklyn-based community writing group, actually, that helped me get really honest about how my story might engage with our industry as a braided cord. Not just the resume, not just the patient's story, but both of them together. And I believe that one way we, as stewards of the American healthcare system, can help bring better solutions to market is by bringing every stakeholder to the table and inviting them to show up as their holistic selves, starting with us. As many of you know, the AMA is known for our membership and advocacy and code sets. It's recently become known for our Center for Health Equity, which was established a month before I joined the organization in 2019. We also have a strong mission side of the business, where my digital health strategy team operates within the professional satisfaction and practice sustainability department. We are tasked with helping make technology an asset, not a burden, for physicians. It's a tall order, and we can't do it alone. Back in the days when I ran events at the Healthcare Accelerator, we realized companies were being put in front of investors that they really weren't quite ready for. They needed more bedside level feedback, and so we asked the AMA to hand select physicians who could come in and help provide that. It was a bit of a reverse pitch. Rather than identifying potential opportunities and defining market segments, we asked companies to come in and pull the curtain back and be real about what their struggles were. The very real tensions of integrating with an EHR, working with the length of a health system sales cycle, understanding the workflow of a care team within each specialty that they were seeking to identify. Around the same time, the AMA was conducting digital health research, seeking to understand the key barriers to successful implementation. There are 4 key requirements identified for technology adoption in this research, and we found that many companies lack access to physicians who are busy caring for patients in an already very overwhelmed healthcare system. And the questions are simple. Does it work? Will I be liable? How will it integrate? And how will I be reimbursed? When companies don't have good answers to these questions, their solution suffers. Physician practices and health system buyers are approached with point solutions that don't address the holistic clinical needs. And though great ideas, there's this gap between what is being developed and how these solutions are getting implemented into practices. So as a start, the AMA developed a digital health implementation guide based on this research. I've been able to share the stage with many speakers throughout the HIT Lab Summit, that have discussed breakthroughs and roadblocks of innovation, and we've seen some really helpful data sets exploring digital health trajectory through research and evidence. The Aura presentation yesterday made me want to put Aura rings on every healthcare provider to redo this research that we did in 2016 and 2019 and again in 2021. That really kind of seeks to understand the specific issues that clinicians are facing. This QR code will give you access to the detailed report. This is really just an executive summary for slides. These are the negative forces impacting physicians and care teams. So what drives burnout and what are the effects? Well, a lot of us have been discussing this. It's high workloads, workflow efficiencies, increased time spent in documentation, loss of meaning in work, the social isolation of that pajama time, and the cultural shift from health values to more corporate values. The AMA Physician Innovation Network is a free platform that we developed. It now has over 19,000 users, creating thousands of connections year-round. And you simply log in, create an individual profile that represents who you are, and then if you have a company, you can also build a profile that represents that organization. And what key feedback, what key questions do you have for those people experiencing those negative forces of a number of the technologies that we as an industry have put into place? You can identify yourself based on your holistic perspectives on the platform, and this slide shows the variations of how folks show up on the platform. Every individual on PIN can identify with one or more of the following: healthcare administrator, care team member, student, innovation leader, physician, caregiver, patient, investor, researcher, and academic, knowing that oftentimes we wear multiple hats, but we typically show up on LinkedIn with just what shows up on our resume. However, I might have more feedback to someone that's developing a VR solution because I saw how influential it was for my grandmother when she was in hospice. You would never know to reach out to me about that, but you might if we put it on PIN. Solution designers are then invited to post opportunities, reflecting their specific questions for subject matter experts. They can be filtered by skill set, time commitment, and all subject matter experts who identify as physicians are verified through the AMA master file, so we do have that vetting system. PIN is both a URL platform and an IRL program. We seek to bring all perspectives to stage, but too often the stages that I set in my previous roles lacked the voices of people who wake up every day and go take care of patients at the bedside. They're just simply busy taking care of patients at the bedside. And too often, admittedly, I'm the only one in the circles that I'm starting to discuss this with that's willing to talk about my own personal patient journey. So in baby steps, PIN is solving for this. We bring a group of physicians to major healthcare conferences and we ask them to share their clinical and technological problems from stage, a real-life version of the platform that you can access at any time. Just last month, 10 physicians in majority clinical care joined me and our AMA president, Dr. Jesse Ehrenfeld, at Health to share their clinical perspectives. And we will launch the application for a new set of physicians to apply to join us at Vive early next week. We work closely with the AMA Center for Health Equity to advance the principles of equitable innovation by gathering experts in embedding equity onto PIN who can help companies, large and small, evaluate how their solutions do, can, and will embed equity. Yesterday, and this is actually a link to the InfoHealth community where a lot of these discussions are taking place. Yesterday, this is an eyesore, but you can look it up. The AMA issued new principles for AI development, deployment, and use in response to the tremendous innovation in the healthcare information space. And lastly, the AMA invites early-stage companies to join the CPT Developer Program, designed to help the developer community identify their path to payment. So putting my product manager hat back on here, we as stewards and creators of the future of American healthcare system need to empower the end user to share integrated ideas that we then co-create with them with a multitude of stakeholders to touch a product, platform, drug, or healing modality. Before and along the way, we need to honestly evaluate if that solution creates longitudinal health. That, to me, is one who is still wearing the hat of the 20-year-old who wanted a solution that could bridge traditional medicine and modern innovation for my current state of health is really this conversation and that the HIT Lab Summit is facilitating. Thank you so much for listening. You can email the team to talk specifically about PIN. You can join PIN and reach out to me directly there, and I'd love to talk with you later on this evening. Thank you to the organizers for inviting me to speak here. It's been an honor.